There is a race of beings as old as time itself in the Warcraft universe. These beings were the first, the shapers and the originators of many worlds. They were the caretakers of the universe, acting as its guardians and protectors. They had a mission to create order in the universe, and through that, they were the caretakers of all life in its different shapes. They forged the cosmos and created bastions of life and culture to take shape and root. But there was one enemy that they could not fully contain. An enemy that impeded them time and time again. It was an enemy that they did not understand, so they could not understand how to fight it. In their pride, they selected their hero, or champion, and tasked him with routing out all corrupting influences and snuffing them out. In their advances through the universe, they created beauty, horror, and order wherever they went. This is the larger-than-life story of the creators of the universe, known as the Titans. After the creation of the universe, where void and light exploded together, in this violent explosion many worlds without number came into existence. Within some of these worlds slept a world soul. The best way to describe a world soul is that it's like an egg, a hard shell that at its core sleeps a titan. This shell, of course, being the molten mantle of a planet and all the life that it springs out from it. When the Titan reaches a state where it can mature or awaken, the planet is absorbed into themselves as a living world. Blizzard hasn't exactly alluded to how this works, if the relationship is more like an ant colony where the living beings still habitate the skin of the Titan, or a darker, more horrific version is that everything from aquatic and terrestrial life are consumed into the Titan's bodies and repurposed for that use only. I doubt the later details of this will change, as Warcraft lore was once a very dark place and has gotten lighter since 2004. I suppose it should go without saying that we'll leave these details of this process aside for now. With the advent of these world souls, this is how Titans are made. The first Titan to wake up was Amon Thal. With knowledge of who he was and the understanding of the rarity of such a being as he had in the universe, he set out to find other Titans and create what would later be called the Pantheon. Amon Thal was specifically an Aesir Titan, meaning platinum-skinned and generally having a connection to air and water. Amon Thal had several names, but one of his most prominent powers was that of time, something that other Aesir Titans do not possess. Amon Thal's mission was to go about finding and awakening other Titans or world souls, to tend to them and help them awaken into Titans themselves. As one by one some Titans would awaken and join Amon Thal on the Pantheon, they kept it their mission to protect planets, some even devoid of a world soul and others containing them. After eons of doing this, only 7 Titans have awoken, with many others still asleep. The Pantheon contained Eonar, Khazgarath, Norgannon, Golganeth, Agrimar, and of course Sargeras. Eonar the Lifebinder is a female Vanir Titan, meaning she was bronze-skinned and had an affinity for Earth. They generally have a stronger physical constitution, but are slightly less powerful than the Aesir in terms of magic. She carries an alabaster staff, and being in the embodiment of life, she has flowers around her head, around her staff, and they seem to grow wherever she puts her feet. She is the protector of life, creation, hope, nature, and the healing in the universe. She is also the consort and lover of Amon Thal. As stark contrast between her love of life, it should come as little surprise as she despises and abhors anything undeath. Though it is not entirely confirmed if she is or isn't, there are many facts pointing to her as what the Tarn call the Earth Mother. Khazgarath is considered the shaper of mountains and canyons. Being Vanir himself as well, it was he and Eonar who helped create Azeroth's dwarves, trogs, and even mountain giants. As he crafted all the mountains on Azeroth, even those who the dwarves live in, they named their kingdom Khaz-Modan, meaning the Mountain of Khaz. Khazgarath is the forge god and loves working and building things with his forge, even so much as creating earthen to help out with his projects on Azeroth. Norgannon the Dreamweaver is the master of the arcane, the secrets, and the mysteries, the collector of knowledge in the universe. He is an Aesir Titan, meaning he is more attuned to magic. While many of the Titans don't like to use arcane magic due to its corrupting nature, Norgannon doesn't appear to have a problem with it. Amon Thal appointed him the task of gathering knowledge of magic, and specifically the arcane, to better help defeat the Burning Legion. Apart from being the master of magic, he is also the historian of the Titans, which he records on discs. Some of these discs you can actually go find if you go to Uldaman. Golganeth, the Thunderer, is the son of Amon Thal and Eonar. He is a large male Aesir Titan, with lightning crackling from his eyes. He is the creator of the seas and skies, creating the creatures in the sea as well. He also created the sea giants who pay homage to him regularly. He generally carries around his horn weapon known as Sargeras. This horn sounds can destroy just about anything between mountains, valleys, and even life forms if it gets too close, so he prefers not to use the horn if he can help it. Algrim Are the Avenger is a Vanir Titan that becomes the lieutenant of Sargeras. Initially, though, he was very inexperienced. However, he proved to be a quick study and learned quickly from Sargeras, eventually becoming so astute that Sargeras named him as his second-in-command and lieutenant. As the two fought throughout the universe containing the demons and void energies wherever they found them, it quickly became apparent that they were trying to hold back an ocean with a bucket. Sargeras and he decided to cover more area splitting up, so they both went in different ways to contain it. It was here, at this time, that a world soul by the name of Azeroth reached out to Agrimar. Agrimar saw visions that deeply disturbed him. Agrimar felt this world soul would be extremely powerful whenever it would awaken, and of course, it drew the attention of the Void Lords and their physical lieutenants to corrupt the sleeping world soul. Shaken by this image, he went to the Pantheon and mustered them together. Agrimar, rarely passionate about events, realized what was at stake. He couldn't allow the Void Lords to corrupt and destroy, or even worse, corrupt and awaken the Titan bent on evil intent to the universe. The Pantheon agreed with him, and they all decided that they would cleanse Azeroth no matter what the cost. It had to be done. When they arrived to help Azeroth, what they saw was far worse than anything they had seen before. A miasmic, pockmarked crust of evil skin wrapped itself around the landscape of Azeroth. The Black Empire had contained and enslaved the elemental lords and created a vast empire built on corruption of the world soul. 5 of these dread elders were on Azeroth, led by Yasharaj. There was Gahun, N'Zoth, Yogg-Saron, and Sethan, each leading a portion of the great supercontinent. The Titans began their war by having the great Forge Master himself, Gaz-Garoth, build an army of Aesir and Vanir Titans from the crust of Azeroth. Because of the larger-than-life size of the Titans, they couldn't attend the battle personally, but what they could do was imbue a number of their servants with their likeness and ability to lead the rest of the Titan-forged armies. These empowered beings were called Keepers. Amon Thal poured a portion of his power into High Keeper Ra and Odin. Khaz'Gara gave his mastery of earth and forging to Keeper Arceus, and Golganath granted Keepers Thorim and Hodir the powers of skies and seas, respectively. Eonar gave Freya the ability of life. Norgadon lent a portion of his intellect and knowledge of history and magic to Loken and Mimron, and finally, Agrimar imparted his strength to Tyr, who would become the greatest warrior of the Titan Forged. Thousands of forges were made to create a large army, and finally they were ready. The Keepers with their armies assaulted the heart of the Black Empire, the sprawling city built around Yasharaj. By taking the head off the snake, the Titans believed they could win quickly after it was removed. As the Keepers battled the horrific form of Yasharaj, they quickly realized it was much stronger and more terrifying than the Titans expected. Yasharaj took the doubts and the fears and the thoughts from the dark corners of the Keepers and the Titan-forged army's minds. Despite the risk of harming Azeroth itself, Amon Thal decided it was too dangerous to be left alive. He reached down from the heavens and took Yasharaj in his fist, uprooting it and pulling it free from the world. In its death throes, Yasharaj shattered mountains and destroyed hundreds of Titan-forged where they stood. Though Amon Thal did kill Yasharaj, its tendrils and tentacles of corruption lay far more deeply into Azeroth than any of the Pantheon realized. It left a terrible scar on the surface of Azeroth, leaving exposed arcane energies to bleed out from Azeroth. The Pantheon was stunned. They could not risk killing the other old gods in the same way. The malignant creatures acted more like a parasite infesting the world, trying to kill the host if they couldn't attach to it. They devised a plan to rid the rest of the world of the Black Empire servants. After each of the old gods were beaten and weakened significantly, Arcades would create a subterranean chamber to contain them. Mimron would create a machine to lock and contain them in place, and Loken would imbue each prison with an enchantment that would neutralize the old god's evil. As I really enjoy the Dark Empire storyline, please expect a video regarding this in a lot more detail at a later date. After the imprisonment of each of the Dark Elders, or Old Gods, the Pantheon then set about creating the different dragonflights, each being granted powers of the Titan Pantheon to help protect Azeroth. Amon Thal gave the Bronze Flight his power over time, and he blessed Nozdumos, saying, "Unto you is the charge of the great task of keeping the purity of time. Know that there is only one true timeline, though there are those who would have it otherwise. You must protect it. Without the truth of time as it is meant to unfold, more will be lost than you can possibly imagine. The fabric of reality will unravel. It is a heavy task, the base of all tasks of this world, for nothing can transpire without time." Eonar took Alexstrasza and the Red Flight, giving them the power of life. Blessing Alexstrasza, she said, "This is my gift, compassion for all living things, a drive to protect and to nurture them, and the ability to heal that which others can't. Birth what others may not, and love even the unlovable. Who surely needs such grace more than any other souls?" Eonar also blessed Ysera from the Green Flight, giving her the power over the growing wilds in the verdant realm of the Emerald Dream. She said to her, "You are bound to the wakening dream of creation. Nature is your realm, and all things have caught glimpses of the Emerald Dream when they sleep. You see them all, Ysera, and they see you, though they may not know it. Like the life-binder, you touch all living beings and sing to them in the song of creation and interconnectedness." Norgannon chose Malygos to lead the Blue Dragonflight and guard the magic, mysteries, and hidden arcanum around the world. Norgannon said to Malygos, "I believe that you will find that my gift to you is not just a profound duty, which it is, but also a delight, which it is. Magic wisdom in ice must be regulated, managed, and controlled, but it must also be appreciated and valued, and not hoarded. Such is the contradiction you must deal with. May you be dutiful and joyous both." Finally, Khaz'garath selected Neltharion and the Black Dragonflight to be his Earth Wardens. He told Neltharion, "My blessing upon you will seem humble compared to those who have been bestowed upon the others. The managing of time, of life, of dreams, and magic. I offer you the earth, the soil, the ground, the deep places. But know that the earth is the basis of all things. It is where we all are rooted, where you must come from. Here is whence true strength comes, from deep places within the world and within oneself." With their work to save Azeroth complete, and 3 kings and 2 queens established to oversee the safety of Azeroth, the Pantheon left to find new world souls, foster them, and push back the darkness of the Void. But it was during this time that something happened to their brother and 7th seed on the Pantheon. After removing himself from his duties to purge the Void, the demons, and the corruption from the universe, Sargeras was left to his own thoughts. As he swam through the twisting nether, his mood growing darker and darker as whispers filled his head.